Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, and here's another Total Drama vlog going again over Total Drama Island 2023. And today we're looking over the episode Drowntown Abbey. I'm not gonna lie, unlike the last episode where the pun title was kind of so bad it was good, this feels a little bit forced because I know it's called Downton Abbey, or at least that's how it's pronounced. I don't know if it's spelled like downtown, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's not quite rolling off a ton like I think it's supposed to, but I'm not here to judge an episode purely based on its episode title. I'm here to judge it based on what we actually get out of it. And here's another episode where I like a good chunk of what we're shown. And here's all that we're shown. I took some notes just make sure I was keep my memory intact on this one. So it first opens up kind of randomly with the backstory of Nichelle and her background in working as an action movie star, which looks cool, and then it just ends kind of abruptly, which I thought, well, that's so random that it's not leading up to anything whatsoever. I'm being sarcastic. I was like, that's clearly going somewhere. We then get Priya's backstory. It might have been Z's backstory. I don't know if I have mixed up, but I'll go over both of them. We have Priya's backstory as she's competing in the dining room of just doing a bunch of like jumps onto different barrels while eating the slop, which that's gotta be some workout, all right. And it's revealed that it is her goal to win Total Drama, though not her dream, as Millie asks. It's actually her parents' dream because her dream is to go to medical school, but her parents want her to do this first. And she figures if she wins this, maybe then they'll allow her to go to medical school, which Millie brings up as completely bonkers. Why would you not want your kid to go to medical school? And that brings up what I said in a previous vlog about how I think her parents might not be all that great. Yeah, this kind of confirms it because I'm sorry, but that is a severe, horrible organization of your priorities. Because I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying that your kid going on a reality show is something you should discourage if they want to. And I'm gonna take a gander and say that Priya probably is at least enjoying herself and is well trained for all this. But if she wants to become a doctor, nurse, or anything in the middle from medical school, let her do it. Not only is that what she wants, but it's a really good career field for her, and I think it would make her feel really accomplished in life without having to go through all of these hoops and hurdles like this. We then get Z give a fake backstory about his leg, which he said he would, because, he reveals to the audience that he was just born this way, but here he's like, let me give some cool stories. And yeah, he gave a cool fake story about bungee jumping and losing his leg like that. I'm not entirely sure how that would work, but whatever. It's because the fake backstory, you can't count that for the casualty counter, but all the same, it does show that Z's not like totally brainless. He's got a little bit of a mind. It's not like deep strategy or whatnot, but it is still something that I think was a nice little touch. We then cut to a scene where Bowie and Raj are just kind of talking while eating breakfast. Raj begins to tell a story about how he accidentally swallowed 3 teeth, 2 of them that weren't even his. And Bowie's like, okay, spill, I need details. I'm like, he's a hockey player. Fill in the blanks. If it's not from that, then I'm curious, but I'm going to assume a hockey match somewhere. But anyway, it results in some food being flung onto Bowie's shirt, and Raj very awkwardly trying to scrape it off and whatnot. It results in this like tender little moment, and that's when I am sure a lot of other people who are watching the episode are like, oh, this is where they're going with that, with Bowie being a gay character. He's not just there to be that. They're actually putting in a good romance with this too, or at the very least, like a attraction between Raj and Bowie. And yeah, I thought it was adorable. I just saw it and I was like, if this is what they do with these two characters, I am all for it so far. Like, please just don't do any stupid BS like you did with Gwen and Trent in season 1. Just have them be 2 guys who meet each other, realize they really like each other, and then it just kind of becomes that. We don't need all the stupid, tedious cliches. I can work with this. Afterwards, then Wayne comes in and just bonds with Raj, and again, they're 2 kind of meatheads who are just kind of dumb and doing dumb stuff. And I like their bond too. Again, it feels a lot like Jeff and Brody, but I'm not sure. But like, unlike Jeff and Brody, who I'm not sure how long they were friends, I'm sure they're good friends and get like along. It's just you don't really get a good gauge on like how long they've known each other. With Wayne and Raj, I am completely confident in they've known each other since they were like little kids. Like they just got the camaraderie like you'd expect them to. And again, it's a good, very nice touch that they gave. We then cut to the challenge that we're going to be having, which, yeah, I've still got that giddy Total Drama fan spirit inside me because I heard Chris McClain say there will be casualties, and I'm not making this up. I literally went. I'm sorry, that is so unbelievably childish for me to react that way, as well as redundant. I feel like the casualties thing goes without saying. I don't think I've reviewed an episode yet that didn't have a casualty counter. Maybe I have. You can go back and check those out if you want to see for sure. I'm fairly confident they've all had it, though, and I love the show for it so much. But hey, advertise it if you want to the audience. I'm okay with that. The challenge involves going through some kind of obstacle course, but it involves one of the 7 members from each team being inside this big glass tube of some sort, and they'll be away from the danger, if you will. A lot of people volunteer, but Chris goes, "Nice try. We're gonna draw at random," and I'm like, "Hey, you're acting like an actual host for once." Again, like so far, I love how they're characterizing Chris compared to previous seasons where he was just a complete psychomaniac. Here, he's a host who does follow by rules. My whole rules are God binder. I'm worried I'm gonna have to retire that when I eventually get around to reviewing this season proper, like outside this vlog format. But I do like that he has like the right attitude for this now. The names get chosen are Damien for the I'm blanking on the name for the teams I forget. Julia from the Frogs of Death and Damien from I forget the red. It was the red team, but I forget. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't have this season down by memory like I have a lot of other seasons. We have Julia being pretty subtly savage in how she talks about her team with like the whole namaste attitude, but it has like a high and mighty kind of undertone to it as well. I think that's a nice touch as well. That's a good chunk of how I'm describing a lot of what we're getting from the show. Just nice little touches. And that is a good thing to add about this season that I like, because I love seasons like of reality TV like Survivor, Vanuatu, and Hell's Kitchen 12, not just for the great big moments they have, although yes, you love them for that too, but just for like little intricate details that help flesh it out a little bit more. And these are some of those nice intricate details I'm talking about. I think they can blossom into bigger things that you can also get a lot of great enjoyment out of. Moving on, you get Ripper, the guy that no one likes, getting hit in the head by a helmet, which is so ironic that it's hilarious. You get Scary Girl just being consistently awesome throughout the episode. I'll elaborate on that shortly. You have MK not really having the greatest team player attitude. Again, I'm going to elaborate on that too a little bit. But Emma instantly takes charge of her team and gives them the order for like how we're going to get through this challenge. She puts in the show last, which of course comes into play later. But I love how she is like completely gung-ho about being a leader, especially considering she was initially almost eliminated in the first episode. I'm happy that she's come pretty far so far. We got Ripper being pretty blatantly sexist, saying, yeah, the big, strong men have to go first. They got the big head start. The girls, they're nervous, they're weak. Don't anyone take that out of context. But no, he tries that, and yeah, like none of the ladies on the team appreciate that. And I love this confessional that Scary Girl gives in response, where she goes, if you're gonna hide the body, clap your hands. If you're gonna hide the body, clap your hands. I swear, I do not usually gravitate to characters this morbid and creepy, but I'm loving it from Scary Girl. She is a delight to watch every time she's on screen. I cannot get enough of her. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the tubes that Damien and Julia are in begin filling with water, and they have to be free from those tubes for the team to win the challenge by grabbing the numbers at the end of the course. They all begin the course, and Chris forgets to announce that there are dangerous animals, bears in this case, around the course, and Chef Hatchet points out, didn't you forget about the sharks in the last challenge? I don't like what you're implying. I'm doing it on purpose. This is how you write Chris to be like evil in a proper way. He's not just doing it, because he clearly just like hates these teens. He's doing it because, no, it gets the right momentum and the right fear and comedy out of the situation. That is how you're supposed to be doing it. Thank goodness they're finally figuring this out. But yeah, Ripper goes first, and if you didn't like his sexist comments before, I didn't either, don't worry, he gets some instant comeuppance throughout the challenge by just getting knocked around senselessly in so many areas, and yeah, I get so much love and so much enjoyment out of that. Again, this is what I was expecting from Ripper. I was expecting that he would be a pretty hard character to really get behind, but it could be balanced out if you gave him the right amount of catharsis for enough time. And yep, we are getting just what we need out of that. So I applaud them for knowing what to do. The beginning of the challenge, I also have to applaud, is quite intense. Like, I was trying to figure, I was like, oh my god, like, who's going to actually get first? Because with the other challenges, I feel like for past seasons, I feel as though challenges were not explicitly the focus of the episodes, despite taking up a good chunk of the episode. It was more character interactions. The challenges were practically like an afterthought. Here, no, like, they're trying to actually balance them together, and they're doing it very cleverly, in my opinion. We got MK showing that her strategy is to be under the radar, which I'm not gonna lie, sounds like a smart strategy if you execute it properly. I'll elaborate on that later. Chase tries showing off to Emma, but immediately gets punched out by a bear. Again, like, people don't like him, but that's exactly what you should do with this numbskull kind of character. Then we see Bowie doing the chorus, and we see Raj slip up for a second, and he goes, yeah, he looks great. I mean, he's doing great. He's like, I like that. I like that. Like, the teeny little clues that he is, in fact, attracted to Bowie. And not in a way it's like, oh, I don't know if I should. He's trying to figure himself out. And I think that's a really smart way to do this. And just saying that out loud astonishes me, because when you think total drama, any season for the record, I don't think smart writing is what you expect from them or what you're ready to go to them for. But it is there. Like, it's not like high level intelligence, but it has a decent emotional intelligence, if you will, of understanding, like, yeah, these are the beats that maybe we should be giving these characters. And I applaud it for knowing the direction to take with that. We see Damien, who, after being in danger for a little bit, just decides now that he wants to quit. Now, I should mention up front that I have made my stance on what I think of quitters in reality shows in general pretty blatant, that with a few exceptions, I'm not really for them. And while this is airing in Canada, we also are currently in the US watching Survivor 45, which, for those who haven't kept up, we're 5 episodes in so far, and 2 contestants have in fact quit. Well, one quit technically. The other one asked to be voted out, but they basically were asking him to quit. And I'm not gonna lie, it's made me re-examine my thoughts on quitting. Not that I'm, completely satisfied with those kinds of outcomes, but I see a lot of people being so relentless to these contestants for that. And all I'm thinking to myself is, I don't know, like, in Hannah's case, for example, I feel as though she thought she could handle it, but then realized, oh my god, no, I can't. Please get me out of here. And in the end, at least you figured it out early. It's sad to see this happen, but I'm not going to be down her too much. I'm sure she's doing it to herself. Like, why should I add on? And then Sean later on does so because apparently he thought he was going home and he decided to give like this big fairy tale ending. Again, that's disappointing, but I don't know if I can fault him much for just understanding what made him really happy. In fact, these quits kind of remind me of like, or his quit at least, reminds me of like Motto's quit in Hell's Kitchen 18. And sorry for the sidetrack there, but I did have to say, re-examining my thoughts on that, I don't outright hate quitting, and I even understand why Damien decided he might want to quit, because he came in the show with no idea of how it worked. He didn't think there'd be any real danger to it, and now he understands there is a lot of danger to it, and he does not want that. But Chris then drops this little bombshell, and I'm kind of torn on this bombshell, actually. He says that if you quit the game, you owe the show $1 million. And I'm like, wow. I feel as though people should have caught that loophole, but on one hand, if you want to discourage quitting in total drama, that is a heck of a way to do it. Of course, now Damien's like, well, I want out of the show, but I don't have the money to pay back for that kind of thing. I have to ask to be voted out. So he tries doing that in a hilariously botched attempt. Like, it doesn't land whatsoever. And I do think that's funny. Like, if we're going to go this route with Damien for the time being, yeah, like, have it to be where he just can't get out of this game despite his life pretty much depending on it. So, yeah, like, as much as I'm not really a big fan of quitting, again, re-examining my opinions on it, I like the direction they're going with this. Now, we cut to the big clincher of the episode, and I'm not going to lie, this is the kind of the part where I somewhat tune out of it. I mean, I'm watching, but it just kind of loses me on likability. It's when Nichelle, after the Frogs of Death are in a huge lead compared to their opponents, and Nichelle just has to finish the course herself. The sad thing is, she sucks. Now, how could she suck? She's an actor here. I kind of called instantly that I'm going to, I guess, stump people do her stuff, which didn't seem like it'd be true. She looks fit, but that can be deceiving. I mean, remember Crystal Cox from Survivor Gabon? She looks fit. She sucked at every challenge. I guess it's kind of a similar thing with Nichelle. I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, Nichelle can't do anything, and the teams do, in fact, pass her, which isn't too hard because Priya does a challenge quite next, and she's just awesome at it, whereas Nichelle just completely breaks down because of this, and it's kind of sad, but it also kind of drags for the last couple minutes, because I'm just like, yeah, crying about how bad you're doing the challenge is not going to help you complete it. Just keep going somehow. And I'm not saying, like, let's assume for a second the show's live action. I understand, like, it's not my position. Like, I don't know how she's actually feeling. I'm just going by logically what probably should be done. And yeah, I don't think she's helping her case at all by doing this. Though, to be fair, her team is not really either. Because you got Julia in the water case just constantly giving people, like, these good vibes for her, which, I mean, there's not really anything else she can do. I mean, she's just stuck in in a giant water cylinder. Emma tries pumping up Nichelle. Again, really good episode for Emma. I think she's doing fantastic. Whereas MK just kind of keeps breaking her down. I like the snark you get from MK. Again, her voice kind of grates on me. I'm not dissing the voice actress. I don't know what the direction was. I don't even know if she sounds like that. It was one of those things where for some reason it's not clicking with me. So that's all I got on that front. Then you have Scary Girl's last team member on her. For her, and we actually see her literally fling around a bear like freaking Fluttershy from My Little Pony, and I was like, how? Okay, this is a cast full of like potential favorite character kinds of contestants. Like, there's so many of them you can love. There's no way on this earth I can pick anyone aside from Scary Girl when you have stuff like this on screen. Ignoring the MLP comparison and whatnot, it's just, that is so freaking cool. I love everything about that. It's like, I don't know how anybody else could not love that too. Anyways, Nichelle continues to keep just crying about her backstory, wasting time, and yeah, in the end, the red team does end up winning. Nichelle tries, but ends up losing anyways. And of course, the Frogs of Death lose challenge, and they had to send people to the campfire ceremony, where the people who are considered for elimination are Julia for not really doing anything. But I don't know, it's kind of like a Lindsay and dodgeball kind of situation. Like, she just kind of couldn't help it. MK, who actively was kind of harming the team by just being a complete downer, and Nichelle, who screwed everything up. And I like that they were both considered. Even Bowie's like, Nichelle messed up, but MK's not a team player. He's absolutely right. Like, I consider either of them at that point. But Nichelle does go home. She's got kind of a salty attitude about it. Not for her team, but for her stunt double. Whatever. And from that, the episode ends. Again, I like a lot of little touches we get. It's mostly the stuff with Nichelle that I'm not particularly a big fan of. I feel like a lot of how she goes home here is kind of forced. I'm not sure how I'd fix it personally. I feel as though with time, maybe when my Total Drama reviews come out, I could maybe have an idea for what I would change about her storyline. I'm not saying it doesn't make any sense. I'm saying it just comes around too fast with almost no build-up. They just have to like cram that in there for the episode. So yeah, I won't say it's perfect. I'll even say it's probably the weakest, only because of that. Because everything else I think is fantastic. I think most of the last 2 episodes have been completely fantastic. I'd say if you want me to rank them right now, episode 2, Pirates of the Caribbean would be at the very top. Meet the Victims would probably be in the middle, despite the comedy not being perfect, but it's got a great start. This would be at the bottom only by default. I can't say for certain where it would rank around the entire season yet, but it is something I'm going to be considering in a little as we go on with these vlogs, what I really think of everything. But for the time being, those are my thoughts on Drowntown Abbey, and like faults and all, I'm still really loving where the season's going. And I can't wait to see y'all in the next vlog. Take care.